Who are you? Think about that. That's an important question that every pre-medical student is going to have to answer to get into the medical school of their choice. Over the next few minutes, I'm going to dissect that question and help you to answer. Who are you? Hi, my name is Kevin Ahern, and I'm very happy today to be here with you to describe the great adventure known as getting into medical school. It's a pathway that many students aspire to, and of course, not everybody gets there. But everybody who goes that direction is very serious about it and very curious about it. So I've been working with medical students like yourself for many years, and I've worked in that time with hundreds, if not thousands of them. So I hope that the advice that I have to give you here today will be helpful to you. When I work with students and I think about what kinds of things it matters, I will ask you the question for you to think about that I ask them, and that is, who are you? Now, it's a very simple question. Who are you? But it's also a very deep question. Who are you? In the class I teach at Oregon State on this subject, it's the first thing that students have to answer. And to be honest, they struggle with it. Struggling with that question is a difficult thing. Because in a lot of cases, people haven't thought about that. Who are you? What makes you unique? Because answering that question in a manner that defines you uniquely as a person is one of the most important things that you can do. You are an individual. And one of the problems that students encounter on their pathway to medicine is they still are in the sheep in the herd mentality. And they don't see themselves as distinct, and they don't distinguish themselves. And that's what stands out to medical schools. Learning to see yourself, to define yourself creatively and insightfully as a unique person is important. Now, when we think of uniqueness, we think about, well, maybe it's economic, or maybe it's social, or maybe it's how brainy you are. Well, in fact, uniqueness comes in many, many ways. And some of the most unique people are those who see themselves creatively. Being able to define that creatively is an absolutely essential part of success of getting into medical school. Now, you've gone on this journey so far. You've probably been in school most of your life. By this age of your life, most people have done that. How is it that schooling has shaped you? But how is it also that the external things in your life have shaped you? Your growing up experiences, your economic environment. What is it about you that has made you different from everybody else? And that's one of the most important things that you can think about. How are you different? And emphasize that difference. Now, the importance of diversity that is really related to this is essential. When I say diversity, how is it that you are diverse, that is unique, different from everybody else? Diversity isn't just ethnic diversity, which is the way that many students see themselves. Have you had to work your way through college? Have you had to pay the bills? Have you lived independently? Are you married? All of these things are elements of diversity. Ethnic diversity is a part of that, but so too is economic diversity. So too are the circumstances of your life. Making sure that you can communicate and understand that diversity is important. Because one of the things the medical schools are going to ask you in the application process is, what makes you different? How can you contribute to the diversity of our incoming class? And students struggle with that because they have not given thought to it. So it's really important to be able to answer that question. When I talk to students about medical school, and I'm giving them questions about, well, okay, let's just go through some practice questions. One of the ones that I hear them struggle on is, I say, can you define the word professionalism? And they'll usually give me a 2 or 3 phrase answer to that question. Well, it's somebody who works hard. It's somebody who has great skill. Somebody who thinks about a problem very hard. And all of those things are really important elements of professionalism. But professionalism is a bigger, grander thing. And I'm going to say a few things about it here. But I think it's important for you to understand professionalism before you get too far into the process. Because what you're going to be is a professional. And you're going to have to convince a group of professionals who are considering your admission that you have what it takes to be a professional. Understanding your profession and the responsibilities that go with that profession is really what professionalism is about. It includes your knowledge. It includes your personality. It includes ethics. It includes the way you consider others in doing things. I like to say that a professional is a person who puts their clients, their patients, their whatever, ahead of their own interests. That's absolutely central to what a professional is about. So being able to articulately answer the question of what is a professional is something that I would really urge you to be able to do. Because you never know when you can pull that out of your back pocket and say, okay, well, here's what I think about that. We all know that in the preparation for medical school, one of the things that all pre-medical students get involved with is involvement. That is, well, what can I do? What should I do in the community? I want you to think about that. And what I want you to think about is not to ask the question, what's the right thing to do? That's one of the most common questions that students give me. What's the right thing? What thing should I be doing? And so my answer to that is oftentimes disappointing to the students. The answer to that question is you should do what interests you. There's no formula. There's absolutely no formula for what works. And the reason that there's no formula for that is because it relates back to that uniqueness of you. The more you try to do things to satisfy others, and the more that you try to do things that you perceive that the medical school wants to see, the less you will do things of interest to you. And the medical school absolutely wants to know that you have pursued everything that you've done for you. And if they perceive in any way that you have been doing things to satisfy somebody else, well, what that really says is you're not an individual. And individuals are what make it into medical school. And people who follow other sheep or other cows don't get there.